The invisible belief that controls your life. What if the biggest thing standing between you and the person you want to become is not your intelligence, not your talent, not your background, not your circumstances, but something much more invisible, something inside your own mind, a belief about whether you can change. Think about the last time you failed at something. Maybe you applied for the job and didn't get it. Maybe you started a business and it failed. Maybe you tried to learn a new language and it gave up. Maybe you went to the gym for a few weeks, missed some season and eventually stopped. Or maybe someone criticized you. What happened inside your mind? Do you think, maybe I'm just not good at this? Or do you think, I don't know how to do this yet? These two sentences sound almost identical, but psychologically, they can take you in completely different directions. The first closes the door. The second leaves the door open. This is the central idea behind the psychologist Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work on mindset. Dweck's research examines how our belief about our abilities can influence how we respond to challenges, failure, effort, and success. She distinguishes between what she calls fixed mindset and growth mindset. And today we are going to explore this idea deeply, not as a motivation speech, not as another video telling you to believe in yourself, but as a practical framework for understanding why some people become stronger after failure, while others become convinced that failure proves they were never good enough. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. You may have a fixed mindset in areas of your life without realizing it. You may have a growth mindset at work, but a fixed mindset in relationships. You may believe you can learn anything until someone criticizes you. You may love challenges until the challenge threatens your identity. And this is where this gets interesting. Because mindset isn't simply about positive thinking. It's about how you interpret reality. So, let's begin. So, listen carefully. We are going to the chapter 1. 2 different ways of seeing yourself. Imagine 2 people. Both are intelligent, both are ambitious, both have the same difficult exam tomorrow. Person A thinks, I need to prove that I am smart. Person B thinks, I need to learn this material. They are facing the same exam, but psychologically they are playing 2 different games. Person A is focused on proving ability. Person B is focused on developing ability. And this distinction is the best heart of the fixed and growth mindsets. A person with a fixed mindset tends to see intelligence, talent, or ability as something relatively stable. You have it, or you don't. You are naturally good at mathematics, or you are not. You are charismatic, or you are awkward. You are athletic, or you are not. You are a business person, or you are not. You are intelligent, or you are not. The problem isn't simply having an opinion about your current ability. The problem begins when you turn your current ability into an identity. Instead of saying, I am not good at public speaking yet, you say, I am not a public speaker. Instead of, I haven't learned mathematics, you say, I am bad at math. Instead of, my business failed, you say, I am a failure. Notice what happened. A temporary situation became a permanent identity. Now consider the growth mindset. The growth mindset begins with a different assumption. My current ability is not necessarily my final ability. That doesn't mean everyone can become anything they want. It doesn't mean effort guarantees success, and it doesn't mean talent doesn't matter. It means that abilities can develop through learning, practice, effective strategies, feedback, and experience. That distinctions change the question you ask. Your fixed mindset asks, am I good enough? The growth mindset asks, how can I get it better? The fixed mindset asks, what will people think of me if I fail? The growth mindset asks, what can I learn from this? The fixed mindset asks, how can I prove myself? The growth mindset asks, how can I improve myself? And the difference can completely change your behavior. Here we are in chapter 2, the danger of needing to look smart. Let's imagine you walk into a room full of people who are much better than you at something. Maybe you are a beginner at photography. Everyone else has 10 years of experience. You make a terrible photo. Someone gives you honest feedback. What happens? A fixed mindset may interpret the situation like this. Everyone can see that I am bad at this, and suddenly the challenge isn't photography anymore. It's identity. Your ego is under threat. You don't simply want to improve, you want to avoid looking incompetent. And when looking incompetent becomes more painful than remaining incompetent, you stop trying. This is one of the most dangerous consequences of a fixed mindset. You can become more interested in protecting the image of being capable than actually becoming capable. Think about it. Someone who is terrified of looking stupid may avoid asking questions, but the person who asks questions learns faster. Someone who is afraid of making mistakes may avoid difficult projects, but the person willing to make mistakes gains experience. Someone who needs to appear successful may hide problems, but the person willing to admit problems can solve them. In other words, the desire to look intelligent can sometimes interfere with becoming intelligent. This is why challenges can feel threatening under fixed mindset. A challenge is no longer simply an opportunity to learn. It becomes a test of your growth. And if your identity depends on being talented, every difficult situation becomes dangerous. You can learn from now, from chapter 3. Why failure feels so different. Failure is one of the best places to observe mindset. Imagine you work for months on a project, you launch it, nobody cares, the results are terrible. What does failure mean? There are at least 2 ways to interpret it. Interpretation number 1. This proves I'm not talented. Interpretation number 2. Something about my approach didn't work. Notice the difference. The first interpretation attacks the person. The second investigates the process. That's incredibly important. Because if failure means I am a failure, there is nothing productive to investigate. But if failure means this approach failed, you can ask, what went wrong? What did I misunderstand? What information was missing? What skill do I need? What strategy should I change? Who can give me better feedback? What should I try next? failure becomes information, and information is useful. This doesn't mean failure suddenly becomes pleasant. It doesn't. Growth mindset isn't pretending that failure feels good. You can be disappointed, you can be angry, you can feel embarrassed, you can even want to quit. The difference is what you do after those emotions appear. Do you turn failure into an identity, or do you turn into feedback? That's the real question. Now we learn from chapter 4, the power of yet. One of the most powerful ideas associated with Dweck's work is a tiny word, yet. I can't do this becomes I can't do this yet. I'm not good at this becomes I'm not good at this yet. I don't understand becomes I don't understand this yet. I haven't succeeded becomes I haven't succeeded yet. That little word doesn't magically solve the problem, but it changes the psychological frame. It transforms a conclusion into a process. Compare I can't with I can't yet. The first statement closes the story. The second says the story is still being written. And this is one of the most useful ways to train yourself to think differently. When you catch yourself using permanent language, pause at yet. Not because you want to lie to yourself, but because you want to distinguish between where are you and where you could potentially go. Chapter 5. Why praise can sometimes backfire. Here is an idea that surprises many people. Praise isn't always helpful. Of course, encouragement can be powerful, but the type of praise matters. Imagine a child gets an excellent grade. You say, "You are so smart." That sounds positive, but imagine what happens next time the child encounters something difficult. If being smart has become part of their identity, difficulty creates a problem. If I am smart and now I am struggling, what does that mean? Maybe I'm not smart anymore, so the child may avoid the difficult task. Now compare that with a different message. I can see how much thought you put into solving the problem. The focus shift. The child isn't being told you possess a permanent quality. They are being encouraged to recognize the learning process. This doesn't mean we should never prize talent. The deeper lesson is that price can shape what people value. Do they value looking intelligent, or do they value learning? Do they value being naturally talented or developing skills? Do they value perfect results or improvement? This applies to adults too. Imagine your manager constantly tells you you are a natural. At first, it feels great. But what happens when you eventually struggle? You may feel pressure to maintain the image. You may hide mistakes. You may avoid difficult assignments. You may protect your reputation instead of expanding your ability. That's why the growth mindset emphasizes learning rather than simply labeling someone as talented. Here we are in chapter 6. Challenge is where growth happens. Let's talk about something almost everyone says they want: growth. We want to become stronger, smarter, more confident, more successful, more disciplined. But there's a contradiction. We want growth without discomfort, and that doesn't really work. If you only think you are already good at, you are mostly demonstrating existing ability. You are not necessarily expanding it. Think about the gym. If you lift the exact same weight forever, your body has little reason to adapt. Learning works similarly. You need challenges that are difficult enough to stretch you. And this is where mindset becomes powerful. A fixed mindset can interpret difficulty as evidence. This is too hard for me. A growth mindset can interpret difficulty as information. This is difficult because I'm learning something new. That doesn't mean every difficult task is automatically good. Sometimes a strategy is wrong. Sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need a different approach. Sometimes the goal itself needs to change. Growth isn't blindly pushing harder. Growth means adapting. That's an important distinction. Now, in chapter 7, effort is not the same as growth. This is where many people misunderstand the growth mindset. They hear abilities can develop through effort, and they turn into just work harder. But that's incomplete. Imagine someone is trying to learn a difficult skill. They practice for 5 hours using the wrong technique. Then they practice another 5 hours using the same wrong techniques. Did they improve simply because they worked hard? Not necessarily. Effort matters, but effective effort matters more. Growth usually requires some combinations of effort, strategy, feedback, reflection, practice, adjustment, and persistence. So, instead of asking, how hard did I work? Ask, what did I learn? What strategy did I use? What feedback did I receive? What should I change next time? This turns efforts into learning, and that's much more powerful system. In chapter 8, we learn how mindset changes your reaction to criticism. Nobody likes criticisms, but criticisms can reveal your mindset. Imagine your manager says your presentation wasn't clear enough. You need to improve the structure. A fixed mindset might hear you are a bad presentations. So you become defensive. You explain why the manager is wrong. You blame the audience. You blame the technology. You blame the time limit. Anything to protect your identity. A growth mindset here, the structure wasn't clear. What specifically should I change? The second response is uncomfortable. But it creates learning, and this is a critical skill. Separate criticisms of your work from criticisms of your identity. Someone can say this presentation needs improvement without saying you are a worthless person. Your work can be weak with you being weak. Your strategy can be wrong without you being stupid. Your business can fail without you being a failure. Your attempt can be bad without your potential being bad. That separation gives you psychological freedom. The chapter 9, comparison, the hidden trigger. Now, let's talk about other people's success. You open Instagram. Someone your age bought a house. Someone started a company. Someone is traveling. Someone has 1 million followers. Someone is fitter than you. Someone is richer than you. Someone seems happier than you. What happens inside your mind? A fixed mindset may interpret their success as evidence of your innate quality. They are better than me, and suddenly their success becomes your failure. But a growth-oriented perspective can ask, what can I learn from them? That's completely different relationship with comparison. Instead of their success, my insecurity, you create their success for information. How do they do it? What skills do they have? What can I learn? What resources did they use? What can I adapt? Of course, this doesn't mean every successful person should become your teacher, and comparison can still be unhealthy. But there's a powerful shift available. Stop using other people's success primarily as a measurement of your worth. Use it as information. Their success don't automatically make you less valuable. The mindset of a beginner from chapter 10. One of the most underrated abilities in life is being willing to be a beginner. When you are a beginner, you look bad. You make mistakes. You ask basic questions. You don't know what everyone else seems to know. And if you have a strong fixed mindset, this can be unbearable. You want to skip the beginner stage, but there is no shortcut around it. Every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent speaker once struggled with basic vocabulary. Every successful entrepreneur once didn't know what they were doing. Every great athlete once had terrible technique. Every skilled communicator once sounded awkward. The difference is that they survived being beginner. They allowed themselves to be bad long enough to become better. This is a profound lesson. You cannot become excellent without first being inexperienced. So, if you are currently bad at something, don't automatically conclude that you shouldn't do it. You may simply be at the beginning. What we learn is Chapter 11. Mindset in Business and Career. Now let's bring this into the real world. Imagine two companies. Company A has a culture where people need to appear brilliant. Employees don't want to admit mistakes. People hide problems. Managers protect their reputation. Employees compete with one another. Nobody wants to say, I don't know. Company B has a culture where learning matters. Employees can say, I don't know yet. Mistakes are examined. Feedback is normal. Manager asks, what can we learn from this? People are encouraged to develop. Which environment is more likely to produce learning? The second one, because organizational culture can influence whether people feel safe enough to learn. And this is one reason the idea of mindset goes beyond individuals. It can become a culture. A team can have a fixed culture. A company can have a fixed culture. A school can have a fixed culture. A family can have a fixed culture. The question becomes, what does this environment reward? Does it reward looking perfect or improving? Does it punish mistakes or learn from them? Does it reward people for appearing talented or for developing talent? Those questions matters. Chapter 12. Mindset in relationships. Mindset doesn't only apply to intelligence. it can also influence how we think about people. Imagine you have a conflict with someone. A fixed perspective might say, that's just who they are. He is selfish, she is impossible, they never change. Once you put someone into a permanent category, you stop looking for possibilities. A growth-oriented perspective asks, can this behavior change? Can we learn to communicate better? What could we do differently? That doesn't mean you should tolerate harmful behavior. It doesn't mean every relationship can or should be saved. And it doesn't mean people automatically change. The point is different. Avoid turning a temporary behavior into a permanent definition of someone's identity. People can learn, people can mature, people can develop, and you can too. Chapter 30. The fixed mindset is not the enemy. Here is something important. You should not watch this video and conclude, I have a fixed mindset. That's bad. I need to become a growth mindset person. That would actually miss the point. Dweck's work describes mindset as beliefs that can vary across situation. A person isn't necessarily permanently fixed or permanently growth. Research has also found that mindset effects differ across people and context. You may be extremely growth-oriented in your career, but extremely fixed about relationship. You may embrace failure in business, but hate criticism about your appearance. You may love learning language, but you believe you are terrible at mathematics. The goal isn't become a perfect human being. Whoever experiences fixed mind thoughts, that's unrealistic. The goal is to recognize the moment when the fixed mindset takes control, especially when you are under pressure, especially when your identity feels threatened, especially when you are afraid of failure. That's where the real work begins. Now for chapter 14, your fixed mindset triggers. Let's make this practical. What situation trigger you? Maybe it's criticism, maybe it's failure, maybe it's comparison, maybe it's competition, maybe it's being surrounded by people who are better than you, maybe it's being called inexperienced, maybe it's making a mistake in public, maybe it's starting something where you don't immediately succeed. Those moments are clues. When you feel, I need to prove myself, pause. When you think, I'm just talented, pause. When you think, I can't do this, pause and ask, is this actually impossible, or am I uncomfortable being a beginner? That's a powerful question, because sometimes the problem isn't inability. It's the emotional discomfort of not yet being good. Change the question you ask in chapter 50. Your questions shape your attention. Instead of, why am I so bad at this? Ask, what specifically am I struggling with? Instead of, why does everyone else succeed except me? Ask, what are successful people doing that I haven't learned yet? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what would I learn if I fail? Instead of, am I talented enough? Ask, what skills do I need to develop? And instead of, why can't I do this? Ask, what is the next thing I need to learn? This is not wordplay. These questions direct your attention toward different possibilities. One question searches for a verdict. The other searches for a solution. We are learning from chapter 16, the not yet method. Here is a simple exercise you can use immediately. Take 5 statements you currently believe about yourself. For example, I am bad at public speaking. I am not disciplined. I am terrible with money. I am not creative. I am not confident. Now add yet. I am not good at public speaking yet. I am not disciplined yet. I am not good with money yet. I am not confident yet. But don't stop there. For every yet, ask, what would make it possible? If you are not good at public speaking yet, what could you practice? If you are not disciplined yet, what system could you build? If you are not good with money yet, what could you learn? If you are not confident yet, what experiences could build competence? Now the statement becomes actionable. The goal isn't, I will magically become amazing. The goal is, I can identify the next step. Here we are in chapter 17, building a growth mindset in daily life. You don't need a massive life transformation. You can train this through small decisions. When you make a mistake, don't immediately hide it. Study it. When someone gives you feedback, don't immediately defend yourself. Ask a question. When you encounter something difficult, identify the skill gap. When someone is better than you, don't automatically compare your worth. Observe their process. When you fail, don't write the final chapter, write the next experiment. And when you succeed, don't simply say, I am naturally talented. Ask, what did I do that worked? Because success contains information too. We are in chapter 18, the danger of fake growth mindset. Now we need to talk about something extremely important. You can misuse the growth mindset. You can turn it into another motivational slogan. Everything is possible. Never give up. Just work harder. That's not enough. Sometimes you need to stop. Sometimes you need a new strategy. Sometimes you need help. Sometimes the goal isn't realistic. Sometimes you need to accept limitation. And sometimes the current response to failure is not try harder, it's try differently. Modern research on growth mindset has emphasized exactly this kind of nouns. Mindset effects are not identical everywhere, and supportive context and effective strategies matter. So don't use growth mindset to blame people. Don't tell someone you failed because you didn't have the right mindset. Human behavior is much more complicated than that. Circumstances matter, resources matter, opportunity matters. Health matters, education matters, environment matters, luck matters. Mindset is one factor. It's not a magical explanation for everything, and that's what makes the concept more useful. Now, in chapter 19, the real meaning of success. Now let's return to the lead title of Dweck's book, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. What is success? If success means I must always prove that I am talented, then every failure becomes a treat. But if success means I am continuously developing, failure becomes part of the process. This changes your definition of winning. Winning isn't always getting a job. Sometimes winning is becoming better at interviewing. Winning isn't always launching a successful company. Sometimes winning is discovering what customers don't want. Winning isn't always getting the highest grade. Sometimes winning is finally understanding something that confused you for months. Winning isn't always being the best person in the room. Sometimes winning is becoming the person who learns the most in the room. That's completely different philosophy. What we learn in chapter 20. A practical 7-day mindset challenge. So, let's turn all of this into an experiment. For the next 7 days, do this. Day 1. Catch your fixed thought. Write down every time you say, I'm not good at this. I can't. I'm just not that kind of person. Don't judge yourself. Just notice. Day 2. Add yet. Take those statements and add This shows me what I need to work on. The event is the same, the interpretation is different, and the interpretation influences the next action. The next action influences the next result, and repeated results eventually shape a life. That's why mindset matters, not because thoughts are magic, but because beliefs influence behavior. And behavior repeated over time can change what you are capable of doing. Your current ability is real. Your current limitations are real. Your current circumstances are real. But none of those automatically tell you what your final potential will be. You are not required to be excellent today. You are allowed to be a beginner. You are allowed to struggle. You are allowed to struggle. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to receive criticism. You are allowed to discover that your first strategy didn't work. And perhaps most importantly, you are allowed to say, I don't know how to do this yet, because yet means the story isn't finished. So, the next time you fail, don't immediately ask, what does this say about me? Ask, what does this teach me? The next time someone succeeds, don't immediately ask, why am I behind? Ask, what can I learn? The next time something feels difficult, don't immediately ask, am I capable? Ask, what do I need to learn next? And the next time you hear the voice saying, I can't, pause. Take a breath and add one word, yet. Because maybe the goal isn't to convince yourself that you can do everything. Maybe the goal is simply to stop assuming that your current abilities are the final version of you. You don't need to prove that you are willing already great. You need to become willing to grow. And that is the mindset. If this video changed the way you think about failure, challenges, or your own abilities, don't just click away. Think about one area of your life where you have been saying, I'm just not good at this, and change it to, I'm not good at this yet. Then ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to get better? Write the answer in the comments. Because knowing about a growth mindset is one thing, practicing it is something completely different. And remember, you don't have to become a completely different person overnight. You just have to become slightly better and slightly more willing to learn than you were yesterday. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more deep explanation of books, psychology, success and personal development. And I will see you in the next time. Thank you.